Today, on Be Something Wonderful, how thoughts, feelings, and beliefs create reality. How it really works. I am your host, Tom Karen, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. I heard from a new subscriber. It said, Tom, I've been focused on manifesting a specific person in my life now for some time. And I think my thoughts are okay, I think I feel good about it, and I'm thinking good thoughts, and I'm imagining it, but I still don't see results. And I've heard you and other spiritual teachers say that all thoughts are creative, and or that it's really the beliefs that create reality, or in fact, it's how I'm feeling that really is due to how I create reality. I'm just a little bit confused. I feel like I'm thinking about it, and I feel like I'm feeling about it okay, but it still hasn't manifested. I was wondering if you could unpack this. Well, guys, we're going to unpack this today and more. Huge topic, but let's really take it head on today. All thought is creative, but hear this. Not all thoughts manifest in 3D reality. Right? Why? Because we have a lot of thoughts, and a lot of those thoughts neutralize or contradict the desired thought or the wanted reality. But look at it this way. Here you are with a thought. That's the seed. That's the word. It becomes bigger as you keep your attention on it, as you focus on it, and bigger. And then it attracts other thoughts, and then it becomes so big, it becomes a belief. It becomes a fact to you. You see it as truth. That's the creative process. And then it's charged, those thoughts, those thoughts are charged with emotions and feelings and energy. And then it must manifest in 3D reality. That's how the process works. Not all thoughts manifest because many are neutralized by contrary thoughts before they are charged or magnetized by feelings and emotions. Hear this, right? They're like a magnet when those feelings and emotions get a hold of them, but not all of them are charged. They're neutralized or diluted by contrary thoughts. Here you are, right? Here's your desired thought in black. Here are the contrary thoughts. So they don't all become, because they cancel each other out, right? The other reason is we also have in 3D reality, in the world of duality, we have this buffer of time. But that's good news. That gives us a chance, if it's a thought that we don't want to manifest, it gives us a chance to change our mind. Right? But we're always changing our mind. So, for instance, not all charged thoughts manifest immediately either. Here's a thought, and think of the orange as it a charged thought. But then as you move in 3D time, that would manifest if you kept it focused on it with your thoughts and feelings and kept your attention on it. But here's what happens. Another thought comes. And then we even shift from that and then still have another wanted thought, and then we charge that wanted thought, and then it manifests in reality, or an unwanted thought, right? It gives you time, right? This is the process, right? It gives you time. It's when it's charged with emotion, but it's when you don't change your thoughts or have other contrary thoughts. But let's unpack this a little bit more. Nothing out there is independent of what you believe. So yes, beliefs, remember, beliefs start out as just thoughts. And then they get momentum, right? They get bigger as we continue to think about them. And we think about them more and more, and they attract other thoughts. Then it gets so big that we don't even question it anymore. It becomes a belief. And then it just drops into our subconscious. We don't even have to consciously think about it anymore. That's what's going on, right? That's what's going on. Nothing out there is independent of what you believe. You get or experience what you are. In other words, that which you are corresponding. Remember, it's all the law of correspondence, right? Like attracts like. You sow what you reap. You get back what you put out. Birds of a feather flock together. All of this is pointing to you get what you're corresponding to, right? The predominant thoughts and feelings. Not all thoughts and feelings, the predominant ones. The combination of your conscious mind and subconscious mind. The combination of your mind, what's going on there, right? This is what they call the law of attraction, law of vibration, law of correspondence. It's all the same. You get what you attract, right? And so you say, I think about my SP all the time. And you say, I think good thoughts about my SP, or I feel good things, right? But remember, when you're needing or wanting or longing for something, you're corresponding to a state of needing, longing, and wanting. even if you feel or you perceive those thoughts as good or those feelings are good, underneath that, there's a wanting, there's a needing, there's a longing for it. And so what you're not corresponding to the state of already having your SP. You're corresponding to the state that you're separate from your SP, that you're needing your SP, that you're wanting your SP, that you're desiring your SP. That then creates a state of needing, wanting, and longing, right? It comes to you when you correspond to the state of already having it or already being it, okay? So that's the other added component to this, right? But let's keep unpacking this. So remember, there's really only 3 steps in manifesting anything. There's intending or desire. You set your intention or you set your desire. That's you. Then God creates or reveals it to you as you persist in that desire, in that intention, right? As you declare it, persist in it, add feeling to it, believe it, more important, believe it. God creates it or reveals it to you, right? Creation's finished. And then it's the third step is you again, then you allow or receive it. Right? You've got to be in that state to receive it. You've got to accept it. You can't. If you're questioning 3D reality, if you're questioning when is it going to come, or it's not quite what I wanted, then you're resisting it, right? You're not allowing receiving it, right? So you can either intend or desire, or you can resist or reject. You're still going to create something, but you're going to create the unwanted, right? You're either allowing it or resisting it. You're either desiring it or resisting it, right? It's impossible to experience anything that you haven't invited by your desire or your resistance, right? Either what you want, what you desire, or the unwanted. That's the only 2 states when you're creating something, right? If you're resisting it, you're still attracting it to you, right? Remember, you can't get rid of anything in infinity. It has nowhere to go, right? So either you're desiring it from non-resistance or you're resisting it, right? This is the vibration of Renaissance or the correspondence, right? You can't perceive or receive anything that doesn't match your state of being. In other words, doesn't match your beliefs or the concept of yourself or the world. That's why a lot of times we talk about identifying the version of yourself that you want to be, what you want to identify as and with. And then that changes, then from that trickles down your beliefs, your thoughts, emotions, and the actions you take. That changes everything when you go within and be still and know that you are the creator, that you are one with God, one with that creative power. Then you can determine your reality. But we'll get back to that in a little bit. Remember, creation is finished. You create the experience of creating it, right? You're not creating anything, in fact. God is revealing it to you, revealing that already present reality that's already present in an alternative reality. Remember, linear time doesn't exist. It's all happening right now. So God reveals that reality to you. As you believe it, you receive it. As you believe it, you perceive it. Yeah, guys, that's what we're talking about. Likewise, you can't get rid of anything that you resist or unwanted. So if you're trying to push away something, you can't get rid of it. You just attract it. You get into the correspondence of that reality. And that's why very often you attract the unwanted, right? But let's unpack this a little bit more. Think of it this way. It's like a television or a TV, right? The programs or realities already exist and are always being broadcast, right? You need only to tune in to what you desire. If you don't like it, change the channel, right? But change the channel to what you do want. Tune in your consciousness to receive the reality of your desire. You're just receiving it, right? The programs or the realities already exist. They'll be revealed to you, right? Change the channel, change the focus of your attention, right? That's what we mean by creating reality, right? And really, reality creation is done on many different levels, right? The lowest level of creation is moving around effects and conditions in the 3D world, trying to influence the already manifested reality. Hear this. That's action that you take in the 3D world, right? That is a level of creation. But remember, you're building a new house with old bricks, right? You're using old effects, old conditions, right? And then you have the level of creation on feelings and emotions and thoughts, right? Both of those even go together. But what you feel, you think, what you think, you feel. But it's also the other way, right? What you feel creates more thoughts, both of those, but normally it starts with thought, right? And then those thoughts become so big that they turn into beliefs, right? Or a concept of yourself or a concept of the world. In fact, a belief in linear time, a belief in that there's really that this stuff is real in 3D reality, right? A belief in that is the concept or your concept of reality, right? That you've got to work hard, that you've got to struggle, that money doesn't grow on trees. These all become core beliefs, right? And then there's the highest level of creation is creating a new version of yourself or a new identity, right? And many times we try to go from it this way, from the doing side, right? To try to create who we are. Instead, create who you want to be, who you are, your concept. And then the core beliefs change according to that new version of yourself that you chose, right? Your beliefs change. You change your core beliefs. Those core beliefs then change other lower level thoughts and beliefs. Those thoughts and beliefs then create like feelings, and then you take action based on those feelings. That's how reality creation works. If you take action, this is if I take this action, I will get what I want. I will be happy. Do, feel, think, believe, happy version of yourself. That's how we think we create our reality. It's backwards, right? We do something, we think we'll feel better, then we start thinking about it more, it becomes a belief in that, and then we feel like we're a happy version of ourselves. Some things can be created in 3D reality like that, but the way to get at it is decide on the version of yourself, decide the concepts or the beliefs that you want to hold. Remember, all facts, all knowledge, all opinions, all of it are just beliefs. None of it is final. You get to decide it all. Let's break this down a little bit more. So we've talked about this before, but I really want to get at this. It's not about I create reality, right? That's the old paradigm. It's I embody reality, right? When you embody reality, you're creating it instantly. You're perceiving it and receiving it instantly from that field of infinite probabilities, from the quantum field, from the field of alternative realities or parallel realities. It's already there, right? The new reality, the new version of yourself creates new beliefs or a new concept. Then you get new thoughts, you get new feelings and emotions, and then you take new actions and behaviors in the 3D world based on that. The issue we run up against is we want to make changes here and then create a new version of ourselves backwards. It doesn't work like that, right? Consciously creating your own reality involves that what you think of as fact or truth, right? That's what it involves. Reality creation is what you believe to be true or facts, and no facts are final. You get to decide. That's powerful, right? Is just a belief that you are projecting. So what you think a fact is truth, remember, that's just a belief that you're projecting in the 3D world. So hear this. Consciously creating your own reality involves that what you think of as fact or truth is just a belief that you're projecting in the 3D world. You project it as you believe it. Remember, the 3D world, the universe, is within you. There is no separation. Right? So you're always experiencing what you are believing. Believing, in fact, is seeing, right? Wanted or unwanted is a belief or a label that you put on the experiences. So that's why when you experience something or you see something in the 3D world, it makes no sense to reject it, to resist it, or to condemn it, because it's coming through, it's being streamed through your beliefs, through your consciousness and through your filter of beliefs. So the best way to handle that is embrace it, accept it, know it, and then go back within and create again, right? Because remember, in the best way to do it is label everything as wanted, everything as okay, everything as good. Because then when you do that, you're believing that, and then it must be good, right? Remember, it all comes to you get to decide. We think things inherently are good or bad or right or wrong. They're not. It's what you believe. Wow, that's powerful. So here's the key. Your life experience will be according to your beliefs and judgments. The way you label or judge the event will be how it turns out for you. So no matter what happens in the 3D world, right, it all gets back to what you're corresponding to what you're creating within, to your inner world. But no matter what, even if it looks unwanted, when you change the way you look at it, when you change the way you judge it, you change the way at how it turns out immediately. This is powerful, right? Thoughts, ideas, opinions, facts, concepts, they're all just beliefs. Don't get stuck thinking that, oh no, this is different. This is truth. There's only one truth. That's God. That's ultimate reality. That's that one consciousness. Everything else is filtered through your consciousness, through your beliefs, through the concept or idea that you have of yourself and the world around you. Wow. I have a lot of, and this is another thing, that you feel that you have beliefs that are sabotaging you or that are limiting you, right? I have a lot of limiting beliefs I need to change. The problem with that is, remember, you're seeing reality not through your beliefs really, but as your beliefs. Hear this. It's more than just through your beliefs, but as your beliefs. You're not seeing your beliefs. You're seeing as your beliefs, through them and as them. You're not seeing them. So when you say I need to uncover limiting beliefs or beliefs that sabotage me, you just create them. That's why it's that's why you can't get to the bottom of it. Right? Hear this. Remember, you are looking as your beliefs, not at them. We think we're looking at them. Just like we think we're looking at 3D reality. You're looking as 3D reality. Hear this. When you look around and you see somebody that is saying something you don't like or treating you bad, you're seeing as that 3D reality. You're believing it. You're creating it with your perception and your attention. So there is no such thing as self-sabotaging beliefs, right? How could there be? How could your inner being or who you truly are create beliefs that you believe are going to hurt you? I've talked about this before. It doesn't even make any sense. You are God. You are perfection. Why within you would you create something to hurt you? In fact, all those beliefs that you view as negative or self-sabotaging at some time must have served you, right? Whether you label them as positive or negative, those beliefs must serve you. And if you still have those beliefs, there must be some payoff, right? There must be something that why you're hanging on to them. Right? And so there's no other reality than what you define it to be. Hear this. There's no other reality than what you believe it to be. Right? So if you believe you have negative or positive beliefs, they must serve you in some way, otherwise you wouldn't believe them. Now maybe you no longer want that reality. Look around. Right? Then you can identify those beliefs, and we're going to talk about this in a second. So remember, people will tell you you've got to face reality. You've got to be realistic. You don't. There's no such thing. Hear this. There are no facts that are final. There is no, that's got to be true. That's the truth. Right? The truth is what you believe. The truth is ultimate reality of God. That's the ultimate truth. Everything else is all filtered through the 3D, through you, through consciousness, but through your filters of who you believe you are and your view of the world, right? So make your inner state, hear this, make your inner state most important, right? Because whenever you say be realistic or face reality, you're making the 3D world, or what you view as reality, more important than what you imagine or your inner state or what you want. So whenever someone says face reality, be realistic, they're saying that the already manifested dead effects of the 3D world are more important than your desires. And if you're saying that I've got to be realistic, I've got to face reality, you're saying that the dead 3D effects, the conditions that you're looking at, are more important than your biggest desires, than your biggest wishes. How insane is that, right? Give your desires and what you want the most reality, the only reality. That's what's most important. Stop being an observer and creator of the past, right? We're observing the past when we look at 3D reality and we're saying, well, that's just the way it is. I got to face reality. Instead, decide what you want to create. Be the observer of what's within. Create what's within. Create that desired ideal within, and then it must manifest without. So try this. I know a lot of you get stuck on limiting beliefs and beliefs that you feel are not serving you. And I've often said that your beliefs are not hiding anywhere. They're right there out in the open in 3D reality, in the experiences in your life. Look at the people, events, and circumstances around you, and you'll be able to identify your beliefs. But try this, a few exercises to try this. Identify an unwanted situation or condition in your life, right? Identify the effect, right? And then ask yourself this question: what does this serve me without changing it? Or how does this serve me? Sorry. How does this serve me without changing it? Right? How does this condition, this unwanted condition that seems so persistent, so real, that doesn't seem to change, how does it serve me without changing it? Because that's where you'll find the answer. Just let that answer come to you. Otherwise, you would change it. Right? It must serve you. There must be a hidden payoff somewhere in that unwanted condition in order for it to still be around. This is big, guys. I want you to consider that. Notice, and then another thing you can do, notice the desire or a wish that has not been fulfilled. So it's the other side of the unwanted, right? Everything that's unwanted means there's something you want. What's the desire or wish that is not already fulfilled? Right? What is it? Notice what that is. And then ask yourself the question, what unwanted thing happens if this is fulfilled? What bad thing can happen or could happen if this wish is fulfilled? Hear that, because those will identify what you might label as limiting beliefs. Right? There's something you believe in, right? So that you believe that some unwanted thing will happen if that wish is fulfilled. That's how you identify your limiting belief, right? Or if it's an unwanted situation, if it's an unwanted situation, how does it serve you to still have that unwanted situation? And once you get to those two questions, you'll identify your limiting beliefs. You'll identify a belief that is keeping that reality real. It's keeping the unwanted around, or it's keeping your fulfillment of your desire in the future, right? What unwanted thing happens if it is fulfilled, right? Does the non-fulfillment have some hidden payoff, right? Hear this. Does that non-fulfillment have some hidden payoff? Or does that unwanted situation have some hidden payoff? Why is it still around, right? Remember, you're the master of your reality. You create it all with how you think, feel, and believe, right? You can be, do, or have whatever your heart desires. So when you ask these questions, it will come to you, right? That is how thoughts, feelings, and beliefs create your reality. I am your host, Tom Caron, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of Higher Consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button, like and share our videos. That's how we get our message out. Hit us up at Facebook at Be Something Wonderful, on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Caron, our website at tomcaron.com or BeSomethingWonderful.com, or write me anytime at info@BeSomethingWonderful.com. I would love to hear from you. Until next time, with great love, this is Tom. See you soon.